Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
Yo, it's your boy, the odd guy himself, Malik King Scott.
Hi, I'm Charlie Edwards.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 131 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host Joey Coastman. I'm joined this week by my partner in crime. He's back. It's Mr. Ayaz Sumra. Ayaz, how you doing?
I'm good, Joey. Yourself?
Very good, my friend. Very good. It's good to have you back on the show. Obviously, last week when Mimi Melendez stepped in for you, we didn't do the news. So there's quite a few little bits to go over, I'm sure. We'll get to that in part 2 of the show. But part 1, of course, as always, starts with the review. And we're going to start last Thursday. So a week ago now today. On the 12th of April, this was one fight to mention that took place over in the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California, USA. On this bill here, Francisco Vargas, 24-1 with 2 draws. Once again, that's the guy who almost sliced off Stephen Smith's ear. He took on Rod Salka, former victim of Danny Garcia. It ended up being a retirement after 6 rounds, a retirement on the stall, I believe. Salka was actually down once in round 5 as well. Salka, funny enough, well, I shouldn't say funny enough, but he was wearing these shorts that had, like brickwork kind of pattern on them. And apparently on the back of the shorts, they said, build the wall. And it was kind of some kind of dig, I suppose, at Francisco Vargas being Mexican. So bit of a, racist kind of thing to do there, and a lot of people are very happy that he got stopped in the end. So I'm not quite sure the thinking behind that one, Rod Salka, but it went awfully wrong for him. He went down like a ton of bricks, and that was that. Moving over now to Friday, the 13th of April. One fight to mention over in Mexico, actually. A guy on this bill who many people may not have heard of. But anyway, his name is Justin Mayweather Jones. He moved to 4-0. It was a unanimous decision over 6 rounds against 2-5 Luis Granados. Basically, Justin Mayweather Jones is actually the son of Floyd Mayweather Sr., and he had no idea that he had a son. And after years and years, I think maybe, I'm not sure how old this guy is. I think he's, let me just check. He's 30 years old, this guy. And he's actually, like I say, the half-brother of Floyd Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather Jr. And, Floyd Mayweather Sr. never even knew that this son existed. And I think that when they did find out eventually, that they were related, well, they were father and son, Floyd Mayweather Sr. is now training Justin Mayweather Jones. So that's quite interesting there. If you have a look at what he looks like, he looks a spitting image of Floyd Mayweather Jr. So 100% got those Mayweather genes. Moving over now to another part of Mexico, a recent foe actually of Josh Taylor, Miguel Vasquez. He returned with a win. He's now 40-6. He moved to win number 40, a win there against Cosme Rivera, who was 43-24 with 3 draws. That was a 10-round unanimous decision. Moving over now to the Doncaster Dome in Yorkshire, United Kingdom. Again, a lot of small shows here, all over the world. Robbie Barrett, former British champion, moved to 16 wins. He's got 3 losses and the 1 draw. It was a points win over 8 rounds against Jordan Ellison, 9-12, now 9-13. Barrett was also cut along the way on his left eyebrow. Moving over now to the Minneapolis Armory in Minnesota, USA. Edna Cherry moved to 37-7 with 2 draws, a unanimous decision win over 10 rounds against Dennis Galaza. Jamal James moved to 23-1. It was a majority decision over 10 rounds against Abel Ramos. And moving over to the King Power Stadium, Sam Bowen ended up knocking out Maxi Hughes, a TKO in round 8 there. Sam Bowen now 13-0. He picked up the vacant British super featherweight title. Maxi Hughes was down twice in the 7th round, and a timeout was called by Victor Lachlan after the bell to begin the 8th round. and the bout was duly halted following a doctor's inspection of Maxi's right eye, which had become badly swollen. So a TKO there in round 8, and a very, very big win there for Sam Bowen. It was really his first kind of big step up there against Maxi Hughes, like I say, a guy that's been around the block. So a great win there for Sam Bowen. He's certainly one to watch. The Europa Hotel in Belfast, Northern Ireland, Paul Hyland Jr. moved to 18-0. It was a TKO in round 4 against David Birmingham, who was 6-1 going in. Paul Hyland Jr., I believe, is now the mandatory to take on Lewis Ritson for the British title. That should be quite a good fight there. 2 undefeated young fighters. And at the Ice Arena in Wales, Cardiff, what do we have over here? Craig Kennedy, 17-1 now. It was a points win over 8 rounds against Nicholas Grizunins, who was 7-0 with 1 draw. Nathan Forley ended up beating Adam Jones. I do like Adam Jones, the journeyman. 8-round points decision there. Nathan Forley now 10-0. Liam Williams, he had an opponent fall through at the last minute. He did end up fighting. It was a TKO in round 3 for him against Darryl Sharp. Relatively easy win there. Liam Williams now 17-2 with 1 draw. And the main event there, Ashley Brace picked up the EBU European Female Super Flyweight title. It was a unanimous decision over 10 2-minute rounds. She's now 8-0 with 1 draw against Xenia Ginorak, I think it said. She's now 8-3. And finally, on Sunday the 15th of April, a humongous upset that happened over in the arena in Kanagawa, Japan. Christopher Rosales, former opponent of Andrew Selby. I remember he dropped Selby in the first round, and then Andrew Selby absolutely boxed his head off to a points win. Well, he got in there as a massive underdog against Daigo Higa. This one was for the vacant WBC World Flyweight title. Boy, oh boy, Daigo Higa 15-0 going in, a bit of a puncher as well. I think he had 13 knockouts. Well, apparently he looked really, really bad on the scales. He looked really, really bad on fight week. And Christopher Rosales turned up and showed up in his performance. 27-3 now. He takes the O of Daigo Higa. It ended up being a knockout in the 9th round, a TKO there. Apparently Christopher Rosales was actually winning the fight as well on 2 judges' scorecards. The other judge having it a draw. That might be quite lenient. Daigo Higa also failed to make the weight, so the title was only on the line for Rosales. And I tell you what, an opportunity there that came knocking for him, and he took it. Boy, oh boy, did he take it. And like I say, I'm sure Andrew Selby now will be, licking his lips for a rematch with Christopher Rosales. I'm sure that they'll probably put up the money to get him to come back over here. And if I'm not mistaken, I want further clarification, but if I'm not mistaken, I think Andrew Selby's European title fight that was set to happen in about 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now, I think that's fell through now, so perhaps he'd want to jump straight in there with Christopher Rosales. Like I say, his record now 27-3. He's only young. I think he's only 23 or 24 years of age, so I'm really pleased for him. And the final fight to mention, Ryota Murata, 13-1, moved to 14-1. It was a TKO in round 8 against Emanuele Blandamura. That one was for the WBA World Middleweight title. Like I say, an 8th round TKO. Blandamura, that's the 3rd time he's been stopped, and all 3 times have happened in round 8. So it's a really bad luck round for him. I remember Billy Joe Saunders stopping him brutally in round 8 also. So a good win there for Ryota Murata, a successful defence of his world title. And that's really it for the reviewing. Just before we wrap up part 1, there's one last thing to do. That, of course, is to welcome, I need to take a breather, our first guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new WBA International Welterweight Champion. It's the pretty boy, of course, Mr. Josh Kelly. Josh, welcome back on the show, my man.
What's happening, mate? You good?
All good, my man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I'm enjoying the sun today, so everything's good.
Excellent. So, Josh, we last spoke back in December. I remember at the time you'd just beaten Hamil Caro. We're speaking now on Thursday, April 19th. You've just beaten former world champion Carlos Molina for the WBA International title. Please, if you could, Josh, just walk us through that fight round by round, if you can.
The game plan was to sort of keep it long and don't go looking for the stoppage sort of thing. And I mean, to get mixed up with a Mexican and to get mixed up inside and of his calibre of experience would just have been a bit silly. So the first round was just a feeling out process to come out and feel him out and just to get to know what he's all about. And then after that, round by round, and just pick the pace up little by little and start finding the jab. Once the jab started getting home, it was hard work for him to sort of get in distance. And I felt as though I could have really stepped it up. I think it was the 8th round. I had him troubled a little bit. I think I could have stepped it up then, but I just wanted to do the 10 rounds and get them under my belt and sort of just push on from there, because you can't get better experience than 10 rounds against a former world champion. So I didn't hurt my hands. I didn't do anything silly. No cuts. Felt comfortable. So I was really pleased. I mean, I thought it was going to be a bit of a more boring performance as what I normally put on, but I think that's what was needed, more of an educated performance this time, just to get the 10 rounds under the belt and don't go looking for daft things. So I was happy.
Yeah, it was a brilliant performance. Like I say, brilliant matchmaking. Obviously, you did the rounds, very important against somebody like that. Not only that, but he's never been stopped, obviously, against all those list of fantastic names he's boxed. Did Carlos bring anything to the fight that surprised you at all? And also, did you surprise yourself with how comfortable you were?
Yeah, that's what surprised us the most. I felt as though he was going to put a lot more pressure on than he did. I felt as though he did bring a little bit. He was always there in front of us, and I was actually switched on to his unorthodox rhythm. He's got a very unorthodox rhythm with his hands and feet. They sort of come at a different. Normally, you step with a jab and your hands in time with your feet, but his feet would come first, and then his jab would follow. So after it was a bit weird, or his jab would come first, and his feet would follow after, and it was all a bit out of time. So that was a bit. That took some getting used to. After the first round, I tested out, but beforehand, Adam and the team were saying he doesn't look as good when you're watching him, but when you get in there, it'll be a lot more awkward and a lot better, and that's what it was. It was the case of that. Obviously, he was very tough as well. He was just a tough guy, and I knew how to survive. When I caught him when he shots, he'd go very low and come up with a swingy hook, or he'd try and push that jab. I knew when to fight back when I felt as I was getting on top. But like you said, he's never been stopped, so all for that reason. So it's good.
And obviously, Josh, since you've turned pro, you haven't boxed anybody with a losing record. Nobody's really been able to complain or moan about your opponents. But to beat Carlos Molina, like we say, a former world champion and a man who I personally know was mentally well up for this fight in just your 6th fight is quite astounding, to be honest. Is it difficult, Josh, sometimes is it difficult sometimes to keep your feet on the ground?
No, not at all. I'm not really on. I mean, I'm on these social media platforms. I've got them. I do post, but I do have a lot of help from outside people with the social media, so I'm not always on there reading stuff. Obviously, reading the bad comments and the good comments, because if you elevated by the good comments of people, then you'd be on the down off the bad comments. So you got to just keep a level head, like I've always said, and just do your thing. And I mean, no one sees it in the gym, really. Only me and Adam and the team know what I'm working on and the way I'm performing in the gym and against who in sparring, etc. So I mean, it's all coming together. I cannot not be grounded with the likes of Ryan Burnett, Rounders. You got Michael Conlon, you got all the lads in the gym, you got Adam training you. You can't not be grounded. It's sort of a good atmosphere, and you come to the gym and you have it. Sort of everyone says well done, and then it's back to work. So it's on to the next one. So I can't wait.
Yeah, the gym really does seem to be, doing so well at the moment, obviously guided by the fantastic trainer Adam Booth, and perhaps the even better photo bomber. He's a great photo bomber, Adam, isn't
he? He's quality, he's a good crack, Adam. He's a good crack.
I remember asking this question to Anthony Fowler once when I interviewed him, and I don't think I've asked you this before, but if you had to choose out of the 2016 Olympic boxers that have now turned pro, which one do you feel has got the most potential of all?
Oh, it's hard, because they're all coming at different rates. They're all moving at different rates. And you can see, like, Lomachenko boxed Ayaz Chamberlain, and that, in terms of experience, there wasn't a lot there between them, but the fact that it was on a massive stage at the O2 and the amount of hype what happened with that fight, that was experience in itself. A lot of that attention was close to world level attention. What people get, it was out this world how mad that fight went. I was talking to people who didn't even know about boxing, and was saying, "Oh, you want to watch the Lomachenko Ayaz Chamberlain fight?" And I was like, "Oh, it'd be a good fight." Blah blah blah. So you got to take that on board. I mean, Cordina, obviously, his skill set's unreal. I've watched him in the gym. I've been there, worked beside him in the GB, and I know what he's about. He's so skilled and talented. Fowler, obviously, big puncher, really hard worker. So Boatti, you got all of them. Boatti, so tough. And he hits really hard, and he's very grounded. I mean, I haven't missed anyone out there, have I? No,
I don't think so. I feel like
Joe
Joyce. Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce is sort of moving quite fast under the radar. Obviously not with Matchroom. He's with David A. He's fighting Thomas. Is it Thomas?
Leroy Thomas, yeah.
Leroy Thomas, that's it. And that's a good fight for your third fight. And I know they're looking for a fight with obviously David Chisora, which would be massive step up. So I mean, you got all the lads moving at a great pace. So I think once we start finding our feet properly, then you can tell. But at the moment, there's that much going on domestically and world level. I don't think you can really place people who's going to get there first. Because at one point you look at someone and you say, yeah, he's flying, and then you say he could get this title, that title, and they blow it out of proportion. But if you think of the people who's holding the world titles in each division, there's big steps up to be made. So we just got to keep our heads down and just keep focused. I mean, I'm just enjoying what I'm doing. I don't really focus on any of the Olympians. I wish them all the best, and I'm still friends with them, but I'm just focused on my journey. Professional is more of a single-minded thing. So it's good. It's good to have been brought through with the lads and to know them and really know what they're about. But I'm confident in all of them doing well, as well as myself.
Yeah, very well said. I'm pretty sure, actually. When I asked Fowler that, he said Buatsi had the most potential. So, yeah. Fair play. So the next step for you is June the 16th in Newcastle. Is that official now?
I'm thinking so. I mean, Eddie's put that out quite a bit. So, I guess it'll get confirmed soon. So, then we'll find out who's next and what for, etc. So, can't wait.
Yeah, I saw that on BoxRec. I'm assuming that's right. But do you know at all if when you do fight, do you know if you'll be defending the title?
I think they'll be looking for either defence of the title or we might be possibly going for another title. Or I'm not too sure. I had him and Eddie keep each other close to the chest because they know I do overtime on people. So as soon as I find out we're unboxing or when or where, I'm on it. I'm just looking at them all the time and watching them, and I come into the gym. Adam, look, this is what they do. Da 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 da. Even with the first fight to this fight, I'm like that. Then I stop watching them about 3 or 4 weeks out. So just keep the play close to the chest.
Yeah, no, good stuff. And obviously Frankie Gavin's thrown his name into the hat again. I see. I know that his fight fell through. Is that I think we spoke about this last time, but is that a fight that interests you?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's a top lad, Frankie. I've known him for a while, and I mean, I think we were meant to. I'm not sure we were meant. I don't really keep up to date with the matchmaking, etc. I don't really ask. I just sort of get the match, and when it's confirmed, I just concentrate on that. But there was something about which might have fought on the Joshua undercard, just gone on the 31st, but for some reason or another it didn't happen. But he's definitely a potential name, so we're just looking to move on, and these steps are big steps, but I'm confident in taking them and coming through.
And in Britain right now at welterweight, aside from Amir Khan, we don't really have many on the world level just yet. Just under that level, I suppose you could say we've got Bradley Skeete. He'll be fighting for the European title next week, I believe. I know that you've sparred Skeete, and I won't ask what happened in sparring, but he's known to be very, very awkward, Josh. Did you find him quite awkward when you were sparring?
Yeah, he's awkward. He's a good friend, Bradley, so we keep in touch a lot. And, I mean, he always comes down and helps out with sparring and stuff, and vice versa, so we know a lot about each other. He's got a very good jab, very, very good jab, and people underestimate Bradley, and I rate him up there at the top level. I mean, I think when he gets the right time and the right opponent for the world title, I think he'll go and win it. If that comes up, like you said, he's there and thereabouts now. I believe a shot with Jeff Horn dropped through before, so I think he would have come through that in flying colours. So I mean, he's awkward, but getting back to your point, he's very awkward and he's got a very good jab on him. So he's not one to be messed about with.
No. Good guy he is. And also, obviously, you know, after winning your title now, you're going to be ranked in the top 15 of the WBA. The WBA put out their rankings usually on the last day of each month. So, because you boxed on the 31st, you just about missed getting into the latest rankings. In 11 days' time, they'll be putting out April's rankings. You'll be in there. You'll be in there. do you have to pinch yourself sometimes, Josh? Because it's all just happening so fast for you, man.
Yeah, it's happening fast. I mean, I was just looking, because I'm always looking. I'm not one of these guys where I boxing go off the radar. Boxing sort of, I'm always looking, I'm not always posting stuff on social media, but I'm always taking over, I'm always looking at stuff, and I'm always keeping an eye on. But I was looking at Carlos Molina's ranking, and he was ranked number 13 in the IBF. I was like, I've got a bit of a shot. I thought, wow, that's a bit of a good ranking. Do you know what I mean? Still to be ranked there. 30 in the IBF rankings, I think he was. So, if I've looked correctly, but that's when I think he was. I mean, I thought that's moving fast. I don't really like to look at the rankings, etc. I just like to look at who are boxing, what they're like, not where they're from or what they've done or what title they hold or where they rank. Purely because I think all that contributes to your mental preparation, etc. So I just focus on him as a boxer. I'm a boxer, he's a boxer. So to fight Carlos Molina in my sixth fight, a lot of people were building up to be a big fight. But when I broke him down on video by myself, I just thought, I was really, really confident in myself. I thought there's no way he can beat this unless he brings something really, really, really special or does something what I'm not seeing him do. Do you know what I mean? So I do have to pinch myself sometimes, but I mean, it's good. It's good that we're moving this fast because it just brings us on, makes us more mature, and then, I mean, 10 rounds underneath my belt in my sixth fight, it's good. couldn't ask for more. So,
it seems pretty crazy to be talking like this with a fighter that's only had 6 fights, but the phone may ring now at any time, you know, for one of the big fights, for a world title fight. On the other end of the phone, in the WBA anyway, you'd have Keith Thurman on the end of the phone, or possibly Lucas Matisse on the other line if he can get past Pacquiao. If Pacquiao beats Matisse in July, Pacquiao might even be calling. Honestly, Josh, you know yourself. Adam Booth knows you incredibly well. How much more time do you feel you need before stepping up like that?
Well, I'm not sure. I couldn't. It's a big call. I'd love to give you an answer, but I think you'd have to come back towards the end of the year and we'd know, or towards at least after this next fight, or the fight after. But I mean, we soon know. We will soon know. And these names are always out there, and they're always lurking in the back of my mind. Because obviously, if you come into boxing, you want to get to the top. You don't want to. I think if you mess about in the sport, you can get hurt. So I'm not here to mess about. I'm not here to make numbers up. I'm here to get to the top in this professional game, and it's a total different game than amateurs, and it's sort of suited me down to the T. I'm enjoying it, and I'm really, really seem to be pushing on, like you said. So these names are always floating about, but you'll have to ask us that after the next fight, or maybe towards the end of the year, and we might get might get a surprise. I'm not sure. So.
No, by rights, you've got about 5 years of time really before stepping up to that level compared to the normal person, But you're just doing it at such a rate.
To be fair, realistically, I think if I was me personally, I would never have chose to fight Carlos Molina in my 6'5". So I'm not the one really calling shots. But me personally, I think I'll always move faster than what I actually think I will because of Adam, Eddie, etc. So I think it'll be another couple of years. But with Adam and Eddie there, I'm guessing they're looking to move it a lot faster and they can see a lot more potential in it. So I mean, we'll just play it by ear and I'll just go with the flow. I'll always be ready to fight who and whenever. So.
No, just keep doing what you're doing. It's working fantastically well. Just before I let you go, Josh, anything that you want to say at all to anybody that may be listening? I'm
just buzzing about the support because a lot of people support us and really get behind us and messages and I mean, it's just mad. I don't really take it all in sometimes. But when I sit and think about it, like on the days out of the day when I've got a little bit downtime and I sit and think about things, just sit and think, I'm really, really lucky in the sense that I've got all the support, not just from England but around the world, and it's mad. But just keep on supporting, and we'll make a journey soon over to Vegas, hopefully.
And Josh, have you got any website at all where people can go and perhaps buy merchandise or whatever?
I haven't as of yet, but I mean, there's something what we're looking into because the following's getting a bit bigger and people are asking for bits and pieces. But I don't want to just put a t-shirt out there with PBK on about or something like that. I want to make it a nice thing, a nice sort of cool looking brand and what people want to wear. Don't want to just trust on for a fight. People want to wear it to walking about or training or whatever, or going out with, not out, but out with the first shots. And I don't want a shabby looking thing. So we're just waiting, we're just looking, and we'll be out soon. So just keep an eye on.
Eyes peeled for that one. All right, listen, Josh, it's always my pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for coming on the show once again. Best of luck if you do fight on June 16th for that date, and we'll catch up sometime after, I'm sure.
Right, thank you, boss. All good. Cheers, mate.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part. Ayaz, we didn't see you last week, of course, so I'm sure you've got quite a few little bits of juicy news. Take it away.
Yes, finally. The big man, Tyson Fury, has come back and will fight on June the 9th with the undercard to be Terry Flanagan versus Maurice Hooker.
Yes, of course. You just forgot to mention there, Ayaz, that he signed with Frank Warren. The most important thing is we're happy to see the big man back in the ring. June the 9th's not that far away. He looks in tremendous shape. I'm going to save what I've got to say, I think, for a little bit closer to fight night. But yeah, I'm over the moon. Everybody knows I'm a huge Tyson Fury fan. So many people that listen to this podcast are. So I'm sure that, I share the opinion that we're all happy that he's going to be back and he's signed a deal and all that stuff. So very, very pleased for him. It's also great that Terry Flanagan, who we had on our show a few weeks ago, he seemed to be raring to go when I spoke to him. And, it seemed like when Billy Joe Saunders pulled out and that really messed up the April 14th card, we weren't too sure what was going to happen with Terry Flanagan. But it's good that fight is happening, and it's happening in Manchester. I'm sure he'll be very pleased about that. June the 9th, that one. Can't wait.
Joe Joyce will challenge Leroy Thomas for the Commonwealth heavyweight title on the undercard of David Haye versus Tony Bellew.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised to see this one happen because obviously Eddie Hearn's involved in it, and I remember saying on this podcast a few weeks ago that I don't think Eddie Hearn would actually put, Leroy Thomas on one of his cards unless it's against Dave Allen. Now, it's very unfortunate for Dave Allen here. I mean, not that this now has anything to do with him, but with his cut, and now, Joe Joyce is going to probably, in my eyes, comfortably beat Leroy Thomas. I think that it really messes up, Dave Allen's chances of picking up either the Commonwealth title or the British title, because it seems like Hughie Fury's going to win the British title. But then again, Peter Fury said to me a couple of weeks ago that he's not going to have, Hughie Fury defending that title and trying to win it outright. So it seems to just be a get-back fight for Hughie Fury. But staying on subject, I'm pleased for Joe Joyce again. I really applaud the way that they're moving him. They're seeming to, fast-track him, which they kind of have to do because of the age factor. But I really like this fight. I think that Joe Joyce is going to, make Leroy Thomas look very average. I know that Leroy's a southpaw and, that should be interesting. But, yeah, I really like that fight. And we'll be looking to try and get Joe Joyce on the show once again, hopefully in the near future. So, really looking forward to that fight. It's a very strong undercard on May 5th, I feel. Lots of 50-50s.
Right. Mikey Garcia has relinquished his IBF belt.
Yeah, I think that, time was ticking. He had to either get rid of his WBC belt at 135 or his IBF belt that he took from Sergei Lipinets at 140. He was very fortunate to be able to hold a belt in two separate weight classes for the time that he did. Phenomenal fighter. Obviously, he's on the intro of every show. We're huge fans of Mikey Garcia here. He's in both of our pound for pound lists, Ayaz. And yeah, it's he's had to give one up. So it looks like from what he's doing that he's going to be moving back down to lightweight and hopefully looking for a unification. I'd like to see him take on Robert Easter Jr. in the meantime while Lomachenko's taking on Linares. But, it doesn't look like he's going to be at 140, which further kind of paves the way, if you like, for people like Regis Prograis, because there's not really many people at 140 who I'd say gives him any problems, apart from Jose Carlos Ramirez. That's a great fight, but those two are really the 1 and 2 guys I'd feel in that division.
Jarrett Hurd has relinquished his IBO belt after not paying his sanction fees.
Yeah, the IBO belt was on the line when he took on Erislandy Lara. Obviously, his own IBF belt was on the line and also Lara's WBA super belt. And I think Lara brought this IBO belt to the fight as well. But anyway, he didn't pay the sanctioning fees. He's basically decided he doesn't want the IBO title, which a few fighters do, because again, it's not a proper world title. So I don't want to say credit to him because, it is what it is. I don't really care if he's got the IBO or not. It makes no odds to most people. So he doesn't want it. He didn't want to pay for it, and that's that. It just kind of is a bit of a kick in the face again for the IBO. But it is what it is,
Paul Butler will face Emmanuel Rodriguez on the undercard to David Haye versus Tony Bellew fight. Yeah,
like I say, we mentioned the Joyce and Leroy Thomas fight. This is another fight for the undercard here. So Paul Butler's stepping up. Do you know what? I'm really not sure about Paul Butler. He hasn't really impressed me since losing to Tete. It seems like he's really been treading water. I know that the fights haven't really been there for him, but since he lost to Tete, aside from the win against Stewie Hall, I suppose that was a decent win for him. But aside from that, he really hasn't impressed me. And yeah, he's taking on Emmanuel Rodriguez, who's undefeated 17-0 with 12 knockouts. I actually will favour Emmanuel Rodriguez in this fight. When you look at his resume, though, I suppose, when you do look at his resume, he's got one of those padded sort of, I don't want to say Puerto Rican resumes, but he's got one of those padded, I want to say Latino resumes, because you see those guys that, fight for the Latino belts and defend them loads and loads of times. He's one of those guys there. I think he's had about 6 or 7 Latino title defenses and stuff like that. But yeah, it should be a good fight. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's one of those ones, really. I kind of backtrack a little bit because Butler, even though he hasn't looked so good, he hasn't looked great. I mean, he got beat by Tete in the fashion that he did. Stewie Hall, I don't think's no great shakes, really. No disrespect to him. But, Paul Butler has fought bigger names, I suppose, than this guy. So it is hard. It is hard to predict. But, if the odds are good on this guy, I wouldn't mind putting a few quid on him because I feel like, he's a big outsider. He's not a big name at all. And, he really may well cause an upset, especially the fact that Butler just doesn't seem to be himself lately anyway.
Gary Russell Jr. will defend his WBC featherweight title on May 19th against Joseph Diaz.
Yeah, Joseph Diaz, he's a guy that has been really ticking all the boxes. He's been looking fantastic in all of his fights. He's been doing numbers on his opponents, to be honest. And he's got quite a fan base as well, so he's a very likeable character. And in the other corner, like you say, Ayaz, Gary Russell Jr., who seems like he's just been so inactive. He's really been kind of having one fight a year since 2014. In fact, since 2014, he's only had 3 fights. He hasn't yet fought in 2018. He's fought once in 2017, once in 2016, once in 2015. So he's been a title holder now, I think, for just over 3 years, and he's only defended the belt, I think, two times. He won it and then defended it twice, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, Gary Russell, I mean, he's one of those guys. He lost that one fight to Lomachenko when Lomachenko was having his 3rd professional fight. No shame in that. But, since then, he has looked good, but the inactivity, you kind of feel like if it is going to bite him in his behind, it will be this fight. Joseph Diaz, like I say, 26-0. It's mad to think that Joseph Diaz has been a pro since 2012 and he's had 26 fights. Gary Russell Jr. has been a pro since 2009. He's had 29 fights. He's just been so inactive lately, Gary Russell Jr. So if the ring rust is going to bite him, like I say, it's going to be in this fight. Joseph Diaz is well up for this. He's been wanting this fight for a long, long time. He's got the youth on his side massively. You'd have to say he's a southpaw. He's 5'6". It is a southpaw versus southpaw affair. But Gary Russell Jr. is only 5'4.5". The size difference could play a part. We'll have to wait and see. But judging on both fighters at their best, you'd have to favour Gary Russell Jr. But I'm just not quite sure, because we've only seen glimpses of it. I'm not quite sure it makes this fight more of a 50-50 fight than it probably would have been if Gary Russell was showing us what he can do more and more and was a bit more active. So yeah, good fight, and I really applaud Joseph Diaz for stepping up for this fight, because it's a tough one. A lot of people don't want to fight Gary Russell Jr. That may be a part of why he doesn't fight so often. I know that Lee Selby has said many times that Gary Russell Jr. He'd be a right handful for him. So yeah, very, very, very good fight there. I'm looking forward to that one.
And finally, Austin Trout will face Jamel Charlo for the WBC light middleweight title on June the 9th.
Yeah, another fight. It's going to be a great night on June 9th, like you say there. We've got the Tyson Fury show and also this one here. I'm very pleased for Austin Trout. Again, every time I speak to him on this show, I say he's a former world champion, and he says, I'm also a future world champion. I know that he really wants to regain that world title status. You'd have to feel that this is a last chance saloon for him in terms of regaining a belt at that level. It's a very tough fight for him. He seemed to run out of steam in his last fight, but it was a great fight while it lasted against Jarrett Hurd. Jamel Charlo, some people would say, is the best fighter at 154, so you'd have to favour him in this one. But what I will say is Jamel Charlo has been outboxed for large periods of fights, and I think that the slickness of Austin Trout could pose some threats to him, could cause him some problems early on. But it's just a case of, can Austin Trout keep it up, and can he stay away from Jamel Charlo's right hand bomb, which he seems to be detonating again and again now. So a really good fight, that one, once again. I really hope that Austin Trout can pull it off, but I think he certainly is the underdog for me.
That's it for the news.
Okay, Ayaz, thank you for updating myself and the listeners there. Moving over now to the preview part of the show. Later on tonight, Thursday the 19th of April, at the Montreal Casino in Quebec, Canada, former Olympian Oscar Rivas, 22-0, takes on Edson Antonio, 40-7 with one draw. I haven't heard of him though, to be honest, so I might have to look at his resume, but that's an 8-rounder there. Moving over now to Germany. Over here we have Ajit Caballel, the guy that beat Derek Chisora over in Monaco. He's 17-0. He puts his EBU European heavyweight title on the line against Miljan Rovkanin, who's 19-1. Also on this bill, Tom Schwartz fights for the WBO Intercontinental Heavyweight title against Senad Gashi. So quite a good heavyweight bill there for Eastern Europe. Moving over now to Poland, 1 or 2 fights to mention over here. Matthias Mastanek, 40-4, takes on Yuri Kalenga, 23-4. That's going to be a great fight there. That one's for the WBO European Cruiserweight title. Quite a tough fight there for that belt. The hero of Poland, Thomas Adamek, 52-5, takes on Joey Abel, 34-9. I remember Joey Abel taking on Tyson Fury a few years back at the Copper Box. I think I was there for that fight as well. And Joey Abel is a guy that either knocks you out or gets knocked out. The only thing he really does possess is a big punch, which is quite a threat actually at this stage in Thomas Adamek's career. That one's for the Republic of Poland International Heavyweight title. So I'm not sure how Joey Abel qualifies to fight for that belt, but it is what it is. Moving over now to Sweden, a great heavyweight fight over here also, especially for the Swedish fans. Otto Wallin, 19-0, takes on Adrian Granat, 15-1. Adrian Granat, I think, got upset. I think it was last year on one of his, one of the fights he was supposed to win. I think he lost that fight. That's why he's carrying the one loss. This one's for the vacant EBU European Union heavyweight title. So that's quite a good dust up there. Both guys from Sweden. That's like their two kind of biggest prospects, if you like. I suppose you could call them both. So that's quite a good fight there. That one is a Sauerland card. Moving over now to the Echo Arena though. Let's start now with the predictions. This one in Liverpool, Merseyside, United Kingdom. I'm going to start with the undercard actually, but get your predictions ready for some of the bigger fights here. Ayaz, Kes Ashfaq, 1-0, takes on Ricky Starkey, 2-5 with 2 draws. That's a 4-rounder there. What else do we have? Tom Farrell gets out again. This is the first time, I think, since he lost to O'Hara Davies by knockout. His record 14-1. Conor Benn, 11-0, takes on Chris Truman, 13-8 with 2 draws. That's a 6-rounder there. Scott Fitzgerald gets out again. Again, he was the guy that knocked out the Black Roy Jones Jr. in devastating fashion. Really exciting young fighter, him. Anthony Fowler, 5-0. His opponent yet to be announced. That's an 8-rounder there. Sam Eggington in his first fight at 154. It seems like we've had to wait quite a while for that. His record 21-4. He takes on Ryan Toms, who's 15-14 with 3 draws, and that there is an 8-round contest. Sean Mashadod Ayaz, 15-2 with 1 draw, takes on Tommy Coyle, 23-4. It's a 12-rounder. It's for the Commonwealth lightweight title. How do you see that one? It's quite a 50-50 fight in my eyes.
Yeah, I think it's a 50-50 fight. Obviously, Sean Mashadod and Tommy Coyle are both very good fighters. I think it's going to be a 12-round contest. But if I'm going to have to choose a winner, I'll probably have to go with Tommy Coyle. Tommy Coyle,
and which method? Because, like I say, we're predicting.
I'm going to go with the points win.
Points win. Okay, interesting. Tommy Coyle for you. Our listeners have gone with Sean Mashadod to win on points. Do you know what? It's a tough fight to predict, actually. It's a tough fight to predict. I mean, the thing with Tommy Coyle, I think that, he's got a lot of power. And a lot of people believe that he's got a load of power. But when you actually look at his resume, his knockout percentage is 41%. Sean Mashadod, though, when he does lose, he does get stopped. He lost to Scott Cardle by stoppage. Again, Scott Cardle's not a banger. And he lost to Andy Townend, who can bang. So it's tough, It's really tough because Sean Mashadod's got some great momentum at the moment. Ever since... he lost to Scott Cardle, obviously, and, he went on to sort of have quite a nice streak, actually. Oh, God, I'm kind of sitting on the fence, but I can't because it's the prediction. So I'm going to go with, a Tommy Coyle. I'm going to go with a Tommy Coyle stoppage. I'm actually going to go with a Tommy Coyle stoppage. So a great fight there. Really excited for that one once again. Also on this bill, Natasha Jonas, 5-0, takes on Tausi El Hadji, who is 5-6 with 1 draw. That's a 10 2-minute round contest. Natasha Jonas was supposed to take on, I think her name's Vivian Albanauf, who obviously got beat by Chantel Cameron and also got beat by Katie Taylor. I did want to see that fight because it would have been a bit of a measuring stick kind of fight, but that fight, for whatever reason, has fallen through, so it's a late replacement here. And the main event, of course, Ayaz, I'm going to come to you first. Amir Khan, 31-4, takes on Phil LaGreco, 28-3, a 12-round contest, return of King Khan.
Oh yes, I can't wait for a return of King Khan. He's been out of the ring for 2 years, obviously because of the Canelo, because since that devastating knockout with the Canelo, he's had a bit of family issues. He's been in the jungle. A lot of things has gone around in his life actually, right? Obviously, at the moment, he's replaced Virgil Hunter because with Joe Goosen due to the fact that Virgil Hunter has got health problems. But I'm looking forward to this fight because Phil LaGreco is actually coming in to knock Amir Khan out. I want to see what Amir Khan is like since being out for 2 years. This is a must-win fight for Khan, obviously, and this is his first fight under Eddie Hearn. Right, if I'm going to go with a winner, I'm going to go with Khan, but I'm going to go with Khan with a points win.
Yeah, I'm going with Khan with a points win as well. Our listeners, it was very, very close with the predictions, but our listeners have just about, by 3%, gone with Khan to win by knockout over points. I agree with you, Ayaz. I think that Phil LaGreco's coming in here to knock Khan out. I think that's really the only chance he's got. He's not going to outbox Khan. A lot of people are bashing Khan for this return opponent. Now, I just want to say to those people there, let's seriously have a think about this now. Amir Khan is not scared of nobody. He's took on some crazy names. He took on, I don't even need to sit here reeling them off. He's took on about 14 or 15 previous, present or future world champions, and he's shown many times that he's prepared to fight anybody. He's been knocked out trying to achieve greatness. He's took on so many good fighters over the years, beaten them, come up short, all that kind of thing. And he's surely entitled to have an opponent who's not on that kind of world level. He's coming off of a knockout loss, a brutal knockout loss, and 2 years inactivity. How can we be mad at this return opponent? I just don't understand the logic there. This is quite a solid fighter, Phil LaGreco. He's not really put a foot wrong. Aside, obviously, he got knocked out once by Errol Spence Jr. No shame in that. Everybody's saying he's the next best thing. He did go the distance with Sean Porter, who I think is quite a banger, Sean Porter. So for me, that's really the reason. If Sean Porter can't get you out of there in a 10-round contest, then I think Amir Khan would struggle to get him out of there. He did lose actually recently I say recently, it was actually in June 2016 to a relatively unknown Joseph Elegele, who we don't know too much about. But aside from that, he's coming off a majority decision win over a guy called Jesus Garola, who was 24-11. That was in June of 2017. He hasn't been really too active himself. I mean, since June 2016, Amir Khan fought in May 2016, so kind of about the same time. Phil LaGreco's only had one fight since then, and like I say, it was a majority decision over 8 rounds against a guy who we don't really know too well. So he hasn't got a really great, impressive resume, but he is half a name. He is half a name, to be fair to him, and I'm definitely giving Amir Khan a pass with this opponent. But for me, I think Khan will outwork him down the stretch. Hopefully we don't see Khan look in danger at any point. I wouldn't like to see him get rocked or anything like that, which very, very possibly could happen. I'd like to see the odds actually on Amir Khan being knocked down and then to get up and win still on points. I think those would be quite lucrative odds. But for me, I think Khan wins on points. So it seems like quite an interesting prediction league this week. That's it for that card. That's obviously going to be at the Echo Arena, Liverpool, Merseyside. It's going to be shown exclusively live on Sky Sports. Remember though, don't make the mistake and watch it on Sky Sports main event. Watch it on Sky Sports Arena or Sky Sports Action. It's one of them. I always get confused between the two, but yeah, it's on that channel about an hour before it's on main event. I made that same mistake myself the other day and completely missed half an hour of one of the cards. I think it was a card that Derek Chisora was on. I missed that whole ringside beef between him and David Hay. Anyways, moving over now to the SSE Arena in Belfast, Northern Ireland, United Kingdom. Some would argue the better card of the evening. This one's going to be shown on Box Nation and on BT Sports in the UK. On the undercard here, what do we have? Conrad Cummins, 13-1 with 1 draw, takes on Luke Keeler. That's a 10-round contest there. Luke Keeler 13-2 with 1 draw. Very, very good fight, that one, by the way. Very good fight. Quite a 50-50. Tyrone McKenna, 15-0 with 1 draw, takes on Anthony Upton, 17-1. That's another great 50-50 there. That's a 10-rounder. Zolani Tete, 26-3, takes on Omar Narvaez, who is 48-2 with 2 draws. He's been around forever. He really has. That one's for the WBO World Bantamweight title, Zolani Tete's title. I strongly believe he'll win this fight by knockout and look good. Also, it's happening in the territory, if you like, of Ryan Burnett. And Carl Frampton, 24-1, fights for the interim WBO World Featherweight title against Nonito Donaire, 38-4. That's a 12-rounder. And I tell you what, there's a lot of people writing off Nonito Donaire due to his recent performances, but I have that fight dead level.
Oh, yes. A lot of people writing off Nonito Donaire, but let me say something. Nonito Donaire is a 4-weight world champion. He's had a lot of tough fights. He's lost to Regondo, Jesse Magdalena, and I can't remember the other 2 fights he's lost. But it's going to be a very, very good fight. Carl Frampton obviously is
he
coming
lost to
up.
Nicholas Waters, didn't he? But yeah, go on.
Obviously, Nicholas Waters as well. But Carl Frampton this is obviously a tough fight for Carl Frampton. Obviously, we've seen Frampton fight Santa Cruz twice. He's got it quick, and now he's fighting Nonito Donaire. Personally, I think it's a 50-50 fight here, but I'm slightly leaning towards Frampton. And obviously, should Frampton win this fight, I've got a feeling he's going to fight Oscar Valdez. Now, if I'm going to choose a winner, I'm going to go with Frampton to win on points, and then fight Oscar Valdez.
Right. Like I say, on Frampton's last performance, I would favour Nonito Donaire, because Nonito Donaire would not have looked terrible against that guy that Frampton fought. But anyway, down to this fight here, I believe that Frampton has prepared diligently for this one. I believe that Nonito Donaire also seems like he's got a newfound kind of excitement and drive and motivation for himself as well, coming over here as the challenger, coming over here as the underdog as well. And I've actually got some money on Nonito Donaire to win on points. So that's my outside of the podcast prediction, but inside of the podcast, I think I'm going to go with Frampton on points, because that's what I feel would probably happen. I don't see him stopping Donaire. Donaire's only been stopped once, and like you say, it was against Nicholas Waters when he seemed to be on fire. I don't really think Carl Frampton has really got that Nicholas Waters kind of power there. So for me, I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, Frampton, I see probably getting the points win. It'll be hard for Donaire to end up getting a unanimous decision over in Ireland, I feel, or Northern Ireland, I should say, to be correct. But yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I see it being a distance fight for sure. I don't really see either man taking the other one out, even though Nonito Donaire's got a fantastic left hook. I don't have to remind people about that, what he's done with that before. But yeah, great fight. Great sportsmanship shown from both men in the build-up, and hopefully it lives up to it. I feel like it will do, though. I think it'll be a great fight. So to put you on the spot, Ayaz, let's just say Amir Khan gets in the ring with Le Greco at the same time as Carl Frampton gets in the ring with Nonito Donaire. You've got Box Nation, you've got Sky, so do I. Who or which fight are you watching? If you had to pick out the two, you can watch one live, you can watch one after that you've recorded. Which one
I
are
have
you
to
watching?
watch the Amir Khan fight.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man. You're letting me down. I'm going to go and watch the Nonito Donaire and Frampton fight card. But hopefully a lot of the big fights don't clash. Hopefully there's, some early knockouts and some points on the other one. So, yeah. Hopefully it's not too bad, because I'd like to watch one card and then watch the other card afterwards. But then again, there's also a card in America, so it's going to be a real busy night on Saturday night. Of course, 3 different huge fight cards, 2 in the UK and 1 in the States. So yeah, we've done our prediction on that. We're all going with Frampton on points. Moving over now to the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, USA. This one's going to be shown on Showtime, and it's also going to be shown on Box Nation. Is it on Box Nation, this one, Ayaz, or is it Sky? I'm trying to think now. I think it's Sky, isn't it?
It's on Sky.
Is it on Sky? Yeah, okay. Sky then. Well, yeah, on this bill here, we have the brother, actually, of Gary Russell Jr., Gary Antoine Russell, 4-0. His opponent yet to be announced. That's a 6-rounder there. We have Rashay Warren, 15-2. His opponent yet to be announced. That's a 10-rounder there. Fabian Maidana, the brother of Marcos Maidana, 14-0. He takes on Mohamed Rodriguez, 11-5. Jamal Charlo, 26-0, puts his interim WBC World Middleweight title on the line against Hugo Centeno Jr., 26-1. I think the WBC said that the winner of this fight will become mandatory to take on Golovkin, so that's an interesting angle there. Jamal Charlo, though, against Hugo Centeno Jr., Ayaz, how do you see that fight playing out? We've gone to the predictions on that also.
I'm going to go with Jamal Charlo knockout.
Jamal Charlo knockout. All right, the listeners have gone with Jamal Charlo to win by knockout also. Centeno, I suppose he's not really a hugely popular guy, but he's actually not a bad fighter. He's only got the one loss on his resume, like I say, but he's not too bad. I mean, the one loss, it was by knockout. It was to Maciej Sulecki, who's the undefeated Polish guy who's taking on Danny Jacobs in a week's time after this one. But, he was a good fighter. He was a good amateur as well. I think his resume, I think he had about 100 fights as an amateur, winning about 90 of them. But, yeah, he's a decent fighter himself. He's got 14 knockouts from the 26 wins. So I feel that it's quite a good fight. It's not, in his last fight he beat Emmanuel Alim. That was a good knockout there. But, yeah, he's certainly the underdog, and rightly so. But I feel like Jamal Charlo will probably do a real job on him, so I'm gonna go with the knockout as well, because I think Jamal Charlo is certainly very special. I'd like to see him in a real big test though, against one of the big bangers, one of the big names at middleweight. But he's nicely and quite cleverly, I feel, settling into this weight here. That's a 12-round contest, of course. Also on this bill, Gervonta Tank Davies, 19-0, takes on Jesus Cuellar, 28-2. This one's for the WBA Super Featherweight title. This is, if I'm not mistaken, I'm seeing lots of things going around that Gervonta Davies, if he wins this fight, becomes the youngest ever two-time world champion. I'm not quite sure if that's true. I'd have to do my homework on that. But yeah, that's an amazing thing to achieve, actually, if that does happen. Gervonta Davies, Ayaz, last time out, even though he got the win, he remained undefeated. He seemed to kind of be, not really concentrating. He seemed like his mind was elsewhere during the fight. He kept looking up to the ceiling for some bizarre reason. He can't really afford to put a foot wrong, though, with this guy. It could get quite interesting if his mind's not on the job.
I still reckon, obviously, Gervonta Davies is one of the youngest champions in British in boxing history. Obviously, he's fighting on Saturday as well. But if I'm going to go winner, I'm going to go with Gervonta Davies. And they're talking about a fight between him and Lomachenko in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it when I see it, but that'd be a great fight. Just to mention here, Jesus Cuellar, he is himself a former world champion. He held the belt for quite a while. He defended it a few times as well. He lost, though, last time out against Abner Mares, and he hasn't been in the ring since December 2016, so possibly a little bit of ring rust we may see. Also, his loss early on came to Oscar Escandon, so he's really lost to good fighters, to be honest, and he can bang himself as well. 21 knockouts from his 28 wins, but Gervonta Davies, he's got power himself, hasn't he? 19-0 with 18 knockouts. How do you see him winning this fight, Ayaz? Sorry if you said I missed your method of how he's going to win, Gervonta.
I'm going to go with Gervonta Davies win by knockout.
Gervonta Davies by knockout. So am I, and so are the listeners. And the main event here, this one again could be really interesting. Adrian Broner, 33-3. This is the final fight to mention. He's in a 12-rounder against Jesse Vargas, 28-2. It was supposed to be Omar Figueroa, but of course he had to pull out of the fight with an injury. I'm sure he'll be kicking himself. Unless it was a leg injury, I'm sure he won't be kicking himself. But yeah, this one's going to be on Showtime as well in the States. It's a DeBella show. Also, Mayweather Promotions are involved as well, and so is Tom Brown's TGB promotion. So yeah, quite a good card in all. It seems like a better card than both of the cards in the UK, to be honest. But yeah, Jesse Vargas, he's been showing a lot of power of late. He's certainly going to be the much bigger man in there against Adrian Broner. We've heard that Adrian Broner's taking boxing seriously again for like the 100th time. It's a very hard fight. It's almost, a lot of people saying it's a 50-50. How do you see it?
I think this is going to be a very, very good fight. Obviously, Personally for me, this is a must-win fight for Adrian Broner and Jesse Vargas, a make-or-break win fight. Obviously, we've seen Adrian Broner in the social media what he's been doing, like getting arrested, and obviously he's been done for a couple of times, assaulting people. Jesse Vargas, we've seen him training under closed doors. And obviously, Jesse Vargas, we haven't seen him in a top fight. Last time we saw him fight was against Manny Pacquiao, where he's lost his WBO belt. Now, personally, yeah, I think this is a very good fight. If I'm going to go with a winner, this may shock a lot of people, but I'm going to go with Jesse Vargas to win on points.
Well, I tell you what, it doesn't shock our listeners. That's exactly what they've gone with as well. I can't see Adrian Broner losing this fight, strangely enough. I feel that even though he hasn't looked great himself, and neither really is Jesse Vargas when you talk about the big fights, he lost to Manny Pacquiao. Fair enough, he did beat Saddam Ali, lost to Timothy Bradley before that, and then, before that he was unbeaten for a while. But Adrian Broner, obviously he's coming off the loss to Mikey Garcia, but he didn't disgrace himself in there. Mikey Garcia, like we said earlier, he's a top 10, if not top 5 pound-for-pound fighter, so that's no shame in losing there. And before that, yeah, he had a close fight with Adrian Granados. He beat Ashley Theophane. He looked quite good there, but he fouled the weight. I'm going with Broner on points. I know that one thing for sure will not happen. Broner will not get stopped. I think he's got a good chin on him. Jesse Vargas, I think, may feel Broner's power, because one thing that Mikey Garcia said to me was that Broner can really whack. So I feel that he might taste a bit of Broner's power. I know that the fight is made at a catch weight of 144, which is quite interesting. So it's above that, junior welterweight limit, but it's also below the welterweight limit. But it's a strange one, because like I say, I think at first it was supposed to happen at 140 when we had Omar Figueroa in the other corner, but now that Vargas has stepped in, he's had to kind of boil himself down 3 more pounds from that normal that he's used to, the normal 147 limit. So interesting thing about that, actually, and I feel that boiling down those 3 further pounds, I think, could play into Broner's hands, because he hasn't weighed that light since about 2014, Jesse Vargas. So yeah, I think that could play into Broner's hands. Not to the point where I think he could come in real bad shape, Vargas, and end up getting stopped. I feel that his energy will be there, and obviously his size is there as well. But I think I certainly favour Broner in that one, to be honest. I feel that his shot selection, the way he picks his shots, the way he can stand in the pocket and trade off and land clever shots, and he is good with his defence. His legs aren't the best, but he's good with his defence. I feel that he'll just be pot shotting Jesse Vargas, and at some points of the fight, I think he'll even be picking Vargas off, and kind of Vargas will be found wanting at times in that fight. But another great fight. I mean, I wasn't too pleased when Vargas jumped in at a late replacement, and I'm very confident when I kind of talk about that. He jumped in at a late replacement. He's got a ball down to 144 instead of 147. All these things are advantages for Adrian Broner, and it's further fueling me with my confidence that I think Broner's going to win this fight. So I'm pleased here that yourself, Ayaz, and the listeners are disagreeing with me. Hopefully I can pick up a point to chase both of your towels, which seem to be very far away. And that's really it, though, for the preview. And Ayaz, just before we bring in guest number 2, anything that you want to add at all?
No, that's it.
Okay, and just before we wrap up part 2, there's one last thing to do. That, of course, is... Oh, hang on. Oh, live while we're on air, it's just been announced Gennady Golovkin will defend his titles on May 5th. They did deliver with that promise that he would still be fighting on that date. He takes on Varnes Martirosyan. That fight there should be decent, with the time that's given. Really, I don't think there's many people that could have got in there and been any better really than Martirosyan. I remember last week when we spoke to Sergio Mora, he said that Martirosyan should be the one that gets the call. Just quickly, Ayaz, it seems mad timing really, just as we was about to sign out there. He's a good fighter, Martirosyan. I remember his fights with Erislandy Lara. Yeah, that's a good fight. You happy with that fight? There's not many other people that could have stepped in. I know that Spike O'Sullivan decided he didn't want to fight because there was all, messing around here and there. There wasn't really many people left on the list.
personally, I know I don't think this is a really good fight, but if the fight I really want to see was Billy Joe, but it's all right because at least we'll get a bit of the ring roster of Golovkin. Canelo, unlike him, if the rematch ever happens, I still think Golovkin beats him.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. Golovkin, like I say, defends his IBO, WBA Super and WBC World Middleweight titles. Vanes Martirosyan, just for those that may not know, he's never been stopped in his 3 losses. He lost to Erislandy Lara, he lost to Jamel Charlo, and he lost to Demetrius Andrade. And if anybody hasn't already seen Demetrius Andrade's hilarious Canelo video on his page on Twitter, go and check that out. It is hilariously funny. It really is. But yeah, that's crazy how that just happened while we was on air there. All the very best to both guys there. I like Vanes Martirosyan, but like I say, with minimal time to prepare for somebody like Golovkin, I don't see it being a good night for him. He may get stopped for the first time here, but all the very best to both men, like I say. And once again, just before we wrap up part 2, there's one last thing to do. That, of course, is to welcome our second guest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former US Marine, Olympian and now professional boxing contender, Mr. Jamel Herring. Jamel, welcome back on the show once again.
Hey man, how you doing, man? It's good to be back.
It's always good to have you back, my friend. So, Jamel, we last spoke, it was just before your last fight. In fact, I think this is actually the 5th time we've had you on our show, which makes you one of the most regular fighters that we have on. But yeah, last time out, obviously the fight didn't end the way that you wanted it to. Ladarius Miller, who was, unless I'm not mistaken, I think he was an underdog going into that fight. He was able to outpoint you over 10 rounds. Please just assess your performance there, Jamel. What went wrong?
Oh man, there's just a lot of things going on in the backstage for starters. I wasn't like, you know me, I never made any excuses, but that night was just a crazy night in terms of how the promotion was going, which we'll get to later because of the reasons why I made some changes in my career. But yeah. I wasn't warmed up, like I needed to in the back because I was rushed, getting to the ring. And at the end of the day, like I said, a lot of people who did see the fight, I felt like I still, just did enough, but obviously not my best, but just did enough to pull out a win, if not a draw. But, things happen. You live and you learn. After that, I just told myself I needed to make some changes, not only with my corner, but the people I was doing business with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to point out there, that was on not a rival promoter show, but you were the away fighter in that, on that show, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Now, since that loss, like you say, you've decided to make some major career changes, your trainer, your promoter, and even your weight class. But one thing at a time, you were invited into camp with Terence Crawford and ended up deciding to change trainer and to now join his gym. Is that right? How's that going?
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. And since I made the change, things been great. The chemistry is there. I'm learning some new things. The trainer, all the trainers, they accepted me in, and we all act as a family now. And and I'm just excited just to have a new, basically like a new start to things. And I'm just excited to get back in the ring.
And what is that like working alongside arguably the best pound-for-pound fighter in today's boxing world?
Oh man, he's been a great help, man. He's been like a brother. Yeah, we talk a lot. He just wants to see me improve. He also felt that I also won the last fight, but he also felt that I didn't showcase my best. So like I said, he just he has a lot of constructive criticism, but it's always good. It's no egos involved. Like I said, he also wants to see me become a world champion, and he's going to, like you say, he's going to stay on my case until that happens.
And what is Crawford like as a person? Because sometimes he tweets some really funny stuff, and it would appear online that he's quite a character, but sometimes in interviews he can come across like he doesn't have much of a personality. It's weird. It's kind of like he's got an on and off switch.
Yeah, man, he's a big kid, man. He's like when we're here in the house for camp. He likes to play around. He likes to do, he likes to joke a lot. You'll probably find us in here play fighting and wrestling and whatever. But he's a good guy, man. he only brings out that other side of him when people pushes his buttons. But for the most part, throughout the day, he's a real funny character, man. Like I said, if you follow just some stuff that I post up on my Instagram or whatever, you get the videos that I post up. You can see that he has a lot of fun, and we just have a great circle around us.
Excellent, man, excellent. And you've also decided to part ways with Haymon, which people may think was a bit crazy. Everyone seems to want to be with him. What are your reasons for doing that? It seemed like you had quite a good relationship with Al, though, because a lot of his fighters don't even have a relationship with him.
Oh yeah, man. I just felt like I said, when you pointed out just a few minutes ago how I was on I was on Linares. I was basically in his backyard. I was on his promoter's card. It was just a lot going on. I felt that, it was time for me to get a promoter that had the best interest for me. I felt like my back was against the wall the last fight going in. So if I was going to make a move in terms of getting a promoter, why not go with one of the best promoters known today, which is Bob Arum and Top Rank. And it was nothing it was no bad blood or anything with Al Haymon. I still communicate with a lot of the PPC fighters over there in that end, but I just felt like I had to do what was best for my career, because if you're like, who's going to look out for me better than me? So I had to do what was best for me at the end of the day.
So you feel that maybe with Al, because he's got so many fighters, it was kind of hard to accommodate what was your best interests, kind of thing. Exactly,
and the one main thing, as you see with a lot of Haymon fighters today, is inactivity. It kind of hurts us, it hurts any fighter, in my opinion. And the main thing, but Top Rank was, to keep me busy. They have a plan. They already have. We have a roadmap mapped out. They know exactly what they want to do, and we're just taking it one fight at a time. But at the same time, we want to have a busy year.
Excellent, man, excellent. So like you say, you've signed a contract now with Top Rank, with Bob Arum. Any particular reason why it was Top Rank instead of anybody else? Not that joining Top Rank's a bad thing. Like you say, they are probably the best promotional team in the world.
We actually came across a lot of different promoters. We had talks with Tom Lawfer, who obviously promotes Gennady Golovkin. We spoke with Main Events. They actually wanted me to fight on Sergey Kopylev's one of his last card in March. We spoke on that, but that didn't go as planned. We spoke with Golden Boy and Robert Diaz and Everett Gomez. They were interested, but it's just that all those guys were interested, but it was Top Rank who actually made the move to actually do something and put something on paper. So that was that's what I went with. We even, like I said, we even had no issues talking. Also, we had a chance to talk with Eddie Hearn, in the UK. That would have been an option. But like I said, at the end of the day, Bob Allen was in Top Rank in the team. Carl Moretti, those were the guys who said, you know what, let's not just give him fight dates. Let's just sign him, and we could do something with him, because they believed in me. Like I said, about a few weeks ago, Bob Arum even gave me a mention on Twitter, and that's rare for Bob to. We all know Bob doesn't mention many fighters, but he has a lot of confidence, and he believes that we could do something still.
Oh, brilliant, man, brilliant. And like you say, you're now fighting on the undercard of Linares versus Lomachenko, another big card. That one is set for May 12th at the Madison Square Garden. Firstly, Jamel, it'll be your first time boxing in the MSG in Madison Square Garden, one of the most historic boxing venues in the world. Is that a tick off your bucket list fighting there?
Oh, yeah. And it's crazy because, we all know I'm from New York, but I fought in the Barclays, the Barclays Center a couple of times, but I never fought in the Garden yet. So, of course, that's a great honor, not only to fight in that building, but, the fight that's headlining alone is a big deal. So, it's just great to be on an event of that level. So I'm just excited, and I'm just ready to handle my business.
And your opponent is Juan Pablo Sanchez, a Mexican fighter with a record of 30 wins and 15 losses. I don't know too much about him, though. He's got a couple guys on his resume that I've looked at that I recognise. But do you know much about the guy, Jamel?
I just, like I said, I've seen a few fights. I believe he was he had won the regional title, WBC Latino champion a couple of years back. he fought like I said, a couple of prospects you might recognize, like Teofimo Lopez. I think he fought just a couple of months ago or whatever. So basically, like, this fight, with Top Rank is more of a just a measuring stick, just to shake up the rust, and get back in the swing of things. But because right after that, I'm coming back June 9th for the Terrence Crawford Jeff Horn fight. So like I said, when I really meant that Top Rank is keeping me busy, they're really keeping me busy, as you see. So like I said, we're just getting back in the swing of things. May 12th, we're not looking past our opponent because anything can happen. We don't want to take any injuries, cuts, and bruises that are preventing me from getting back in the ring. So, like I said, we're taking this fight just as serious as any other fight.
So you say there you'll be fighting June 9th, which is only obviously a few weeks after that. I'm not trying to sneakily get a prediction from you here, but unless you knock your opponent out, will you still be pleased with your performance?
I think like I said, it's been a hard, I always judge my performances very hard, so I don't think I'll be pleased if I don't stop him. If I do a lot of damage, whatever. But my main goal, I want to. At the end of the day, I still want to stop my opponent, so I can, like you said, take less risk, and still gain more reward, not only from myself personally, but from my new promoter as well. So plus, if you look at his record, I believe he hasn't been stopped since 2012. So I'm trying to end that run with a knockout.
And you kind of say there that Bob Arum didn't just present to you a deal. He presented to you kind of like a plan, if you like, to get back.
Yeah.
This fight happening here May 12th, the fight after that June 9th. Is there any, I know that you probably can't tell us too much, but is there anything that you can tell us that goes on further from that? Is there like a plan to have a certain amount of fights before trying to go for one of the title lists at 140?
Oh yeah. I can speak a little bit on that. For starters for this fight, the plan is to get us ranked, either this fight or the next fight, and we want to get ranked in as many sanctioned bodies. People, who recognize Top Rank, they always believe that the WBO title is the main title that stays at Top Rank, which is true to a certain degree. But like I said, we want to get ranked in as many sanctioned bodies as possible, and then explore our options. And then later on, we'll probably go for a regional title. And then afterwards a world title. So we'll just play, they basically have like I said, a plan set out. We don't know it. Like I personally don't know exactly which route they want to take me. I was told by my handlers though, maybe about a week ago, that they want to see what I do this fight and the next fight in June to get a real good idea of which direction we're going to for, and basically which world champion that we want to go out there as well. So like I said, my performances in May and June basically to determine what happens next.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, right now the WBO title's vacant. Did you hear the news that Mikey Garcia just vacated the IBF as well?
Oh yeah, and he's going to defend the WBC title. Like I said, it's just not a bad idea. Like I would have personally like to see him fight, some other guys at 140, but if you got, between the winner of Lomachenko and Linares, you probably do something big with that. He works with Haymon, so he has the possibility of still, unifying with Robert Easter Jr.
Yeah.
And like I said, Ray Beltran is still out there. So there's a lot of ways you can go. So we'll just have to see basically at the May 12th because that everybody's looking at that fight between Lomachenko and Linares to see what will happen next.
Yeah, very, very good fight. And the final question that I've got for you, Jamel. This weekend, your former gym mate Adrian Broner takes on Jesse Vargas, a man that you fought in the amateurs. Who do you believe wins that fight? A really good fight.
Like I said, I'm not going to be biased because I'm close with Adrian, so I can't really call it because the main reason I can't, we wasn't too happy with his performance against Mikey Garcia, of course. But
let me just interrupt you quickly there, Jamel. I spoke to Mikey Garcia on that fight, and one thing that Mikey Garcia said was, and I was quite surprised actually, he said that Adrian Broner can really punch for that weight. Yeah.
And that's true. His biggest flaw is his activity level. It hurts him. And that's what I was getting to. Like, my main thing is for this fight, I just want to see, with his new change of trainers and everything on his situation, I just want to see the differences and changes they made to him more mentally than anything. Because he has the tools, he has the strength, but he has to put it all together, and he has to be active and consistent each and every round. And I'm real. I would say I have a real good relationship with Jesse Vargas as well, and Jesse's he's hungry. He wants the guys and the welterweight division like Keith Thurman. He wants to crack at another world title as well, and I respect that. My only thing that I have about Jesse is his last performance, he had a guy in front of him that many of us thought that he should have got out of there early, and he just let him linger around long enough than expected. So we'll have to see, because I feel like if he doesn't get Adrian respect early in the fight, it might be a long night for him. So we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I favour Adrian Broner, to be honest, in that one. I think that the fact that obviously Vargas was kind of thrown in as a bit of a late replacement, not too late because he still had quite a while to prepare, but it's at 144, it's at a catch weight, so he's going to have to come down there. He's a much bigger guy. I really favour Broner in that one. But anyway, last thing that I've got for you, Jamel, anything that you want to say at all before I let you go? I like to give you an opportunity to say anything you like, so take it away.
Oh, man, I just want to say thank you for just having me on again. And, we all know I will be back on the show again. So the next time we talk, hopefully we'll have, like I said, you'll have more answers to what we spoke about earlier with this whole top rank deal. And I have, and I want to let you, I want you to be basically one of the first to know, the plan that we're going to, since, you and I have been really close over the years now. And, I want to give you that respect to let you know, to break the news to you first. So I just want to thank everybody out there listening. And, like I said, somebody asked me about a week ago if I wanted to fight in the UK. And hell yeah. I mean, like I said, I loved the UK when I was out in the 2012 Olympic Games in London. So I'm like, why not? Just like Errol Spence told Kell Brook last week, why not? The UK atmosphere is great. No one beats it, not even in the US, point blank. But like I said, if anybody wants to reach out to me, they can just hit me up on Twitter, Instagram at Jamel Herring. And thank you again.
Hey, thank you, my friend. Thank you. Listen, Jamel, it's always a pleasure. Best of luck for May 12th. Thank you for your time, and I will speak to you after your fight, or maybe on Call of Duty at some point soon.
We'll get back on it, bro.
Okay, and this wraps up episode 131 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Ayaz Sumra has been Ayaz Sumra. A big thank you to our two guests on this week's show, the new WBA International Champion, Mr. Josh Kelly, and the former Marine Olympic boxer and now top-ranked prospect, Mr. Jamel Herring. Thank you all once again for listening. It's just come out that Canelo has been given a 6-month ban by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. More on that next week. Best of luck with the predictions this week for everybody involved. Enjoy your weekends, people, and we shall see you all next week.